Hey guys, welcome back to the Thread of Thoughts podcast. I am your host, Tia. I am so genuinely excited to talk about this because typically I like to take my time before I speak on relationships or anything like that because a lot of things take time to process. And I always tell you guys that I'm a person who has never been in a relationship, so I can only speak but from so much experience. So today I'm just really excited to talk to you guys about this topic because it's just been lingering on my mind for a while. So, my question to you all is, do you think it is possible to be mutually obsessed in a relationship? And when I say obsessed, I really mean just the same levels of mutual interest. I don't know what high school was like for you all or what it will be like if I have any listeners who are younger in age, but I vividly remember there being couples in high school that were so deeply in love with each other and obsessed with one another, like to the point where they could not handle and process the fact that they had to separate to go to class for an hour and a half. Like they just could not accept that. And don't get me wrong, okay? Obsession with another human to me is never a good thing because I've been there. I'm just going to say it. I've been there, and I think it can cause you to lose sense of yourself and many other things. It's just not a good thing. But again, I just wanted to reiterate that as throughout this episode, if I say obsessed, I really mean displaying high levels of mutual interest. But anyways, okay. Back to the couples in high school. Okay. In this time, in my adult years, I just wonder if that's possible, if having that high mutual interest is possible. You know, when we're kids, it's different. You know, our thought process is different. We just like a person, we go all in for it. And I just wonder if that's possible in our adult years where everyone has so many things going on and just life is lifing. You know what I mean? I just wonder if that's possible. And when I reflect on my past situationships, and I say this because I've never been in a relationship, and I think that I've said that in previous podcast episodes, but I'm not sure, just letting you guys know again. But when I reflect on those previous situationships, I think about how either I was more interested in the person than they were, or they were more interested than I was. And I'm always just like, why does this happen? Like, where's the mutual liking? You know what I mean? So I'm sure some of you have heard relationships last longer when the guy is more interested, you know. People are always like, let the guy chase you. You are the catch, whoop de whoop. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? I am the catch, okay? But personally, I have to really, really like you or I'm just not interested at all. Like, that's just me. I'm either all in or all out. That's just how I am. Like, I'm not going to want to be involved with anyone that I half-ass like. It just wouldn't work. I would just hope that whoever I like a lot likes me a lot as well. But it's so crazy because my last situationship brought up a really good point that I want to share with you guys. This man told me if he acts the way I do, I wouldn't be interested in him. Now, let me explain. He's pretty much stating that if he was as obsessed with me as I was with him, I wouldn't even be interested in him anymore. If he was chasing me, yes, I did a lot of chasing after this guy, but I've learned my lesson, okay? But if he was chasing me as much as I was chasing him, I wouldn't be interested in him. And that just really made me think. It really, really, really did. First, that was his way of telling me he's not that interested in me. Okay, I know now. I know now. But I thought back to any other, again, situationships that I've been involved in. And I came to realization that any man who liked me a lot and displayed high levels of interest in me, I ran away from it. But I chased men who did not display and express high levels of interest in me. And if they did, it was very short lived. I don't know. I'm just like, what is this? It's almost like it's human nature to chase after those who want you the least, because I see it so often. And I just want to know, why does this happen? What is this about? Someone would genuinely care for me and show that, but instead I run from it and I'm chasing the emotionally unavailable, super detached, least interested men. It's like the rejection leaves me super low spirited, but it's stimulating. Maybe it's dopamine. I think that's the right one. I get so confused with all of those things like dopamine, serotonin, and let me do my Googles. Hold on one second, guys. Okay. Because it's like, what? Like dopamine, I know it's something. Let's Google it. All right. What is dopamine? Okay. Okay. Dopamine is most notably involved in helping us feel pleasure as part of the brain's reward system. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Okay. That was from Harvard Health. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm assuming it's dopamine. It's just like a reward. And I don't know how or why, but I just find this to be so interesting, because if we can't have anything else in life, we sort of accept it, right? We just adapt. But not so much with relationships. Getting so stuck and consumed by a fairy tale and extreme fantasy, creating versions of individuals in our head that are not the individuals presented in front of us, making ourselves believe what is irrational is actually rational, just believing there's hope. Eventually, I'm going to have to tell you guys about how this situationship led to a very big heartbreak for me, actually, but I can say that I've seen this on his end as well, which is just so, it's just so interesting to me, because he chased after women who didn't show much interest in him either. And it just led to major confusion for me, because I'm like, I'm everything you need. What else could you be looking for? That's what I'm in my head saying. But I had to think about how those I ran away from felt the same exact way. And I've actually seen this with a few people close to me. And I think a significant part of this is figuring out why we are this way. Why do we do this? What needs need to be met, etc. Right? Of course, it all circles back to self-worth, self-identity, a lot of inner work and other psychological concepts that can be detected through taking the time to reflect on it all. It's just so interesting. I don't I know that I'm saying this 1,000 times, but this is just something I'm just always mind blown over, Even when we look at the timing, those in relationships, they may start out mutually obsessed. Then as time goes on, maybe one person becomes a bit less invested while the other person remains immensely invested. Now, don't get me wrong. Both individuals can lose interest simultaneously. Like that's possible. But I oftentimes see one person from the relationship draw back. One person leaves, the other person is heartbroken. And to me, this sucks a lot, because while relationships have their ups, they also have their downs too. And those downs can sometimes overpower those ups, leading to people becoming so emotionally damaged and carrying that into new encounters, new relationships, and things like that. It just makes me so sad. Like, I'm trying not to tear up. because just thinking about that makes me so sad because sometimes I just think about, I'll just look outside and I'll just think about how everyone has their own story and you just don't know what people are going through and the hurt that they are carrying. And, it just, sometimes I just think about people in the world and I just think about how so many people are just hurt. So many people are just carrying so much pain and trauma. And it just makes me so sad because let me keep moving because I will literally start crying and that is not why you guys press play to hear me cry. So anyways, yeah, it just makes me sad. And relationships in such heavy involvement with other people can truly alter our way of thinking. It can alter our actions, our reactions even. I think it's crucial to learn from each and every friendship, relationship, situationship, heartbreak, love interest, whatever. Learn from it and continue to be good to others. I'm just extremely curious to get you guys' opinions on if you guys think it is possible to be mutually obsessed and remain mutually obsessed in a relationship. Yeah, I really got to know. You guys got to let me know what you think because I'm just so interested in hearing everyone else's perspectives and even those who have been in relationships, what that was like because, man, this is just so. I think about this a lot. And I understand, everyone has different ways of expressing their high levels of interest in a person. It may be through words or gifts or physical touch, whatever their love language is, right? Actually, whatever their giving love language is. And I say giving love language because I think everyone looks at love language different. And when people are asked what their love language is, they either state what they give or what they prefer to receive. So let me give you guys an example. My giving love language, I would say, is acts of service because I do a lot for other people. And what I prefer to receive or what I want to receive, mainly in relationships, I would say is words of affirmation. I'm big on reassurance. I'm an overthinker. Yes, I'm working on it. But reassurance means a lot to me. So I hope that provides a little bit more context to what I was saying. Anyways, as I was saying, I understand everyone has different ways of expressing their high levels of interest in a person, but you want to make sure whoever is on the other end feels that and that they're receptive of it. And they meet you with that same energy. Okay? Because you can't just be walking around here in the relationship be one-sided. I've been there, okay, for years. We cannot have that. That is something I will not accept anymore. It just doesn't feel good. And it has to be mutual. It has to be like, if I accept that again, my stomach will always hurt. Like my nervous system. Listen. Okay. Anyways, I just feel like I should have went to school for psychology because the older I get, the more interesting relationships and just how the brain operates is so fascinating. I'm trying to say other words other than interesting, but it's so fascinating to me and it makes me want to learn about it. And I actually have a few books regarding how just the brain works and I need to read those because hello, I could be getting a little bit more education on it if I just read those books. Anyways, I am just rambling right now, but thank you guys so much for listening. I am always so goddamn appreciative of it, like always. Make sure you guys follow, listen, and subscribe on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. And be sure to follow the podcast Instagram at Thread of Thoughts Pod, and we'll talk soon.